Welcome to episode 18 of the Unfortunate Diehards podcast. As you may be able to see or hear, we are in a bit of a different setup. I am in an Airbnb in Montreal, and Suvi and Omar are still in Ottawa. So say hello, boys. Hashtag Ryan Dezingle, by the way.
It's always a Sens player.
I hate Ottawa.
Hey guys, it's Omar.
It's Sufi.
It's Evan.
And welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome back. We have a stat game for you guys. We have a huge announcement that if you want to stick around for later in the episode, we will preview something that should be coming in the next episodes. We also have a head-to-head as always, and we will go over what we've been up to and what's been happening in the NHL. So, Sufi, what's been up with you, buddy? Any Capitals wins? You know, Sufi's a Caps fan. I'm a Sens fan, and Omar's a Leafs fan. So, what's been up with you in general?
Well, I mean, I'll talk about the Caps in a bit, but this Wednesday we're going to see a Shah Rukh Khan movie. It's apparently going to be a very big spectacle and everything, and he's very excited. I'm just going because of my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But I've been on because of that, I've been on a little bit of, well, not because of that, because of other reasons that I won't specify. I am on a binge of watching Bollywood movies, and it's been pretty entertaining. Very dramatic, but I like the songs. Yeah. Omar.
What movies have you seen?
Kal Ho Na Ho, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum,
Yeah.
Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, um, Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna.
Bringing back the Brown and Sufi.
Still love the way. Yeah. What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Not much, to be honest. It's been a little bit of a quiet week.
Yeah, we had our ball hockey game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got injured in that as well.
I actually did get injured in that as well as too. Yes.
Yeah. You get injured every week though.
Yeah, it's true. Evan, how about you? How's your Evan probably has the most to tell us because he's traveling the Canadian borders.
Yeah, so fun.
I am. I was in Quebec City earlier this week.
That's actually
We had a couple events there for Bauer Hockey. I do the first shift program. So if any of you have kids, Bauer Hockey Canada and the NHL/NHLPA host a lot of events across Canada called the First Shift. We get to host events for children between the ages of 6 and 10, with some exceptions, and give them head-to-toe gear with 6 on-ice sessions for an affordable price, and like to introduce kids to a positive and fun environment regarding hockey. And so this time I'm in Quebec/Ontario, so I got to go to Quebec City. I was there last time, and very nice city. Went and looked at the Chateau Frontenac. There was a huge slide there, so we got tickets and went down this big slide on the mountain, which is great. And I've been in Montreal for the past couple of days, so went on a nice long walk today, and went to a Laval Rockets game, and Laval won. I think it's like 10,000 seats or something. It was so loud and everyone was going nuts for all of these. Like it was awesome. So yeah, been a pretty good trip so far. I'll be hitting up Ottawa and Kingston and Toronto soon. So might be back for the next podcast at Omar's house, but we'll see. But yeah, been good.
Sponsor us, Bauer.
Hint, hint, Bauer. Hint, hint. All right. Well, Evan, how are your Sens doing?
Not well. Really not well, actually. The Sens struggle still to score 5-on-5, and I think I brought this up before. Like the Nashville coach, he was talking about how like they really good at scramble plays, but have no like kind of set plays. There's no structure, and it is so very true. Like the only structure they have is on the power play, And so it's, we don't have depth scoring. We're not scoring 5-on-5. Our defense aren't big enough, good enough, and then goaltending's been shaky. So I don't know what to say. And then Norris came back finally, scores a goal, and then hurts his shoulder again on a nothing play. So he probably shouldn't have even returned. So he's getting surgery now. So for the Sens, like realistically this season, I don't even know if I want a coaching change now. You may as well just let it ride and hope for a high pick. And you hopefully change some things up. Call up some young guys. Ridley Gregg just got called up. He should be playing in the next game. You run those guys, have good seasons out of Stutzel, Giroux, Kachuk, Batherson, Shabbat, Pinto, and hopefully DeBrincat stays and extends. If not, then I guess you trade him for a lot, maybe a defenseman and some, because he's such a big asset. And yeah, it's not looking good in Sens land. We may be sellers again, but as long as we play somewhat competitive hockey, I guess that's what matters. But really hoping for a push next year, or else I'm going to. I don't even know. Like I've been a diehard fan for like over a decade now, and I'm like almost becoming disinterested because it's like so painful to watch in a way. Power play's fun, like great, like we have exciting players, which is awesome, but they like lack of structure, and I feel like you can't even blame it on necessarily like players all the time, or even like lack of effort per se. It's like constantly getting scored on the same ways. Like it's people left open in the slot. It's getting out muscled in the corner, and it's like I don't know if it's the like strength and conditioning. It's the whatever. Like just kind of at a loss for words at this point. Like um, I've had so few playoff runs in the like 10 to 12 years of or being like a diehard Sens fan, and the one that we did was like a miraculous kind of run, and yeah, just quite frustrated with the Sens right now. But we can talk about a more competitive team if you guys would like.
Yeah, the Sens are the Sens. Their 5-on-5 struggles continue, and I think they're not gonna improve. I don't think we see DJ Smith back next season. If we do, I'd be shocked.
We do, then someone else needs to get fired.
Yeah, yeah, essentially. Because 5-on-5 play speaks for itself. And yeah, blame the players to an extent, but coaching is a huge part of it. Okay, let's talk about the Washington Capitals. Sophie, how's your team doing?
Like honestly, since we last filmed, it's been pretty average. We went around like a West Coast swing here. We did lose two big games in Vegas and Colorado. Wait, no, just Vegas. We've only played twice. Huh? I don't know. But Vegas and because we're playing Colorado tomorrow, so like that could be a bounce back. But again, it's just the lines, man. Like we're not gonna win with friggin' Nicholas Aube-Kubel on the first line and Kuznetsov with Hathaway on the fourth line. As much as I love Hathaway, that's just not a great combination. But that's why someone put a thing on Twitter of like, would you bring Laviolette back next season or whatever? My biggest thing was he's really good when half our players are injured, and then we just go on like a run of like a lot of wins when that is the case. But when our guys are back, he just refuses to like make the lines normal again, and then just keeps them like everyone's still injured. It's really weird. Ovechkin was injured last game, or he was injured. He had a maintenance day at a morning skate, and then he just didn't play the game that night against Vegas. And that actually helped Mantha get back into the lineup. But we lost that game pretty badly. And then I don't know. I think he was practicing today, so he might be back. I'm just kind of hoping that it's not like he doesn't go to the All-Star game because of this, because actually like it's the only reason I'd watch is to see him back in there, because he's actually got a personality, unlike half the players in the NHL. So but yeah, I mean Kemper has been good still. He got his league leading fifth shutout against Arizona. And, and honestly, standings wise, we're pretty much in the exact same place as last time too. So there's not much to update like with how like we are in the playoff picture and stuff because it doesn't seem there was much movement below us or ahead of us either. So because honestly, since we last talked, like Ottawa, Detroit, and Buffalo have kind of fallen off the radar here, and it's pretty much just between Pittsburgh, Washington, Islanders, and the Devils for the last two spots in the wild card and the last spot in the Metro. And then
Can you believe the Devils had a 13-game win streak? Now they're like a wild card team.
Yeah,
but they've been better of late.
Yeah.
Like and honestly, the other team that's like slightly been better and like kind of getting back into the conversation is Florida. But we'll see where that goes. I don't know. I guess Florida is still in the conversation with like Pittsburgh, Washington Islanders. But yeah, there's not much to change on that spot. I do hope we trade for like a defenseman at the deadline.
Zaitsev?
No. We're not top gun defenseman, more of a cost efficient defenseman.
Oh, Nick Holden?
No. There's something better that we already have. And like
Hamonic?
Nah. Honestly, like, it's more of like a depth thing. So like honestly, any one of those guys, if they want to come and like you guys retain like half the salary, even though they're not making that much anyway, you'll take them. It's just to make sure that Matt Irwin doesn't play that many games going forward. But once Carlson's back, I think like our defense will be back to what it was before, and it should be fine. It's just we have a lot of depth in forward ranks and not much in defensive way of things. So I do think Mantha or Eller, one of them will be traded, maybe both. So we'll see what happens to the deadline.
Quickly before we move on to the Leafs, actually, you brought up the All-Star game. So the picks had been released, the extra picks, and I wanted to know your opinions on whether you're listening or, see if you know more as well. The whole picking of certain All-Stars, because some people are having better seasons, but it seems like they may have gone for some big names, like Nylander's having a phenomenal year, but wasn't picked over two other forwards for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Another thing being like, someone I know had brought up they should do the draft again because it's more interactive, there's more personality, and it's like still the All-Star game. All the same players or very similar players are still going to be there. So what are your thoughts on if they should change it, keep it the same?
Want to know something funny? So the whole popularity thing that people were talking about Matthews, and that's why he's there. It was very evident. So you know how right now they kind of just do like pick at least one person from each team. So Jay Fresh did a fan vote on Twitter, like just pick whoever you think actually should be all-stars. And Nylander still wasn't on that list, like on a pure fan vote. It was Marner and Matthews that made it in the Atlantic.
It's always going to be the public. I mean, it's the thing with the All-Star game is that the entire sport is for fans, yes, but this event is for the fans, and they want to see the big names, right? Yeah, Nylander's having a phenomenal year, and it'll be cool for him to make the All-Star game, but he's nowhere close to a name as Matthews. And he's not even at the same level as Marner in terms of a name. So like people who are paying tickets for an All-Star game, they're gonna want to see someone with the big name. So I get why.
I mean, there's someone that's better than all three of them this year, and he didn't make the team. So, and it's pretty much just because he's a defenseman. Rasmus Dahlin. I'm pretty sure he has more points than all three of them.
Yeah, there you go.
And he's way better. I mean, he's good defensively. So like,
Nylander has 56 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he just? Is that adding what
he had 4 tonight? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because before the game today, it was tied with him and Dahlin then because Dahlin has 52.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nylander's an amazing season. I love watching him this season. Like I love it.
And
I've always liked him, but like this season, I love him.
With the fan vote to get the last two in. It was like there was no way that Matthews wasn't going to be fan voted in, and then Pasternak was just like Pasternak should have already been there. It was just Allmark's having an insane season. So I don't know. Nylander kind of the writing was on the wall, and same with Dahlin, I guess. But
yeah, I do think though the draft would be fun, like especially if they're trying to go for like a more entertaining league. Like I think it was Evander Kane talked about like boring people are the people that get a lot of the attention in hockey. And Yeah, I get it. Like Crosby, McDavid, when you're such a big name, maybe being a little chill, but that's kind of why I love like spit and chicklets. You get like to hear different stories and perspectives of different guys and like hear them shoot the poo a little bit, trying to monetize. Um, it's nice hearing those sorts of things, but people like even like Brady Kachuk, like at least if he's flossing with a kid in Calgary, it's something. Like, you want a little bit of like pizzazz out of like some players. Like in the NBA, I think, yeah, there's a lot more personality, but there's a lot more media and stuff as well. Like, I've heard people say like hockey players are some of the funniest athletes they've ever had and really good like storytellers, but you never really hear about it, which sucks. So, podcasts like, Spin Chickens or even ours, hopefully one day, like you can hear some of these stories that don't get told and then, make the sport a better, like more fun kind of environment. And, I think bringing back that draft would kind of create those moments, like not picking Kessel to last. Just like, it's like a running
The
joke.
Castles, yeah.
So like things like that, it's fun for everyone. So,
We
and
should.
maybe they could even make captains like the goofy guys, like Nick Foligno that one year or whatever. Like, he's a guy that like doesn't care as much, like pretty charismatic. So it'd be fun.
We should get Josh Norris on the podcast now because he's not going to be doing anything anyway. So
I'll send him a message.
yeah, he's going to be chilling.
Yeah, Omar is
We have
really
our
shooting
contact.
big.
So
Pretty sure he like was DMing with, and by DMing with, I mean begging like Mbappe to come on for some reason.
Oh my
Just picking
goodness.
like the biggest superstars in the world. Like Taylor Swift, I think as well was one of them.
Marian Hossa read the message, just saying. Okay, let's talk about my Leafs.
trash. Okay, so stacking.
um,
Oh wait, so before you say anything, Leafs suck. Okay, go.
yeah, I had a feeling it'll be something like that.
I was going to say something else, but I'll wait till after.
So the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's been an interesting couple of weeks because a couple of leafy things have happened in the last couple of weeks. And when I say I think the Leafs fans will know what I mean when I say leafy. Um, but two games in particular I want to point out. So I'll talk about the Toronto Boston, which happened
No,
Saturday a week ago, and then
loss.
this most recent Saturday was the Montreal Canadiens. So two
Also
losses.
loss. Oh damn. Okay.
So I'll talk about those two games because those two games happened, I think, in more of um so we look at the Boston game. It's a 3-3 tie going into the last or in the last minute or last minute and a half or so of the game. It's a
Matt Grizzlick, baby.
yeah, it's a 3-3 tie. We're thinking it's going to be an overtime game, and then a point shot, an error getting out of the zone. I believe it was a Tavares giveaway, and a shot that we can argue back and forth on whether Murray should have had that or not. But I think it should have been a save. But regardless,
He sucks. So
but I mean, a point shot beats him, and that's game. So a game where Leafs had a lead, I believe, once they fought back to tie it, but again, just that last laugh. Boston gets that last laugh again. It's kind of just that, the very leafy thing that happens again, and you don't want to see. You want to see a bit more structure, a bit more, I guess, safe play when it comes to the last minute of a game, especially against an opponent like Boston. So that was a disappointing one to not even get a point out of because just how good the game was. Like, it was a great game for anyone that watched the game. It's a really good game to watch. And the Montreal game was a very leafy game the other day, just because, first period it was like what, four shots. Montreal had four shots the entire period. It was not even close. It was domination by the Leafs. 2-0 easy, and it was looking like it was going to be an easy night in general. We had almost a 3-0 lead going into the second, like within I think the last 30 seconds or so. Kerfoot had, I believe it was Kerfoot. Matthews found him right in front. He got it on his stick and he hit the post. So it could have been 3-0 going into the second period. But anyway, it just looked like it was going to be an all Leafs night. And then second period, it was all Montreal. I believe they tied the game just before the third. Third period, again, I think it shifted back towards the Leafs, but then there were no goals and then another overtime loss. So again, just not finding a full consistent 60 minutes against a team, especially like Montreal. No Cole Caulfield.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, no Cole Caulfield. Big players injured. should have, that first period is how the whole game should have been. But again, I think it's one of those instances where they're like, oh, hey, this is going pretty easy at intermission, and then they take their foot off the gas a bit, and there you go. Montreal takes advantage of it, and it ends up in a point gone. So, a couple of, they just were coming off a win right now, just less than an hour ago against Islanders 5-2. So good to be back on the win column. But yeah, that's a couple of leafy things happened in the last week, which I didn't like seeing.
So here's my thing, right? I think so. There's two things. First, I'll give a little positive thing. I didn't expect either of the goalies to like take the reins, kind of thing, but I think it is very evident that like for the last like month or two, Murray is sucking. Samsonov is not.
Samsonov, yeah.
And Samsonov has had like few stretches here and there that were like not as good. But
where he like throws his stick into the stand or something.
He does that every game, even if he's doing good. So it's not even that's just a part of his game at this point. I think we've accepted it. So at least there's that. Like you have a goalie that's like he's your starter.
Right now, as of right now, he is the starter, yeah.
But I mean, he might not get treated like that because Murray's older, whatever, and experience, whatever. But at least like someone's playing good.
Yeah.
So my thing is why I think that a team like Boston is more successful in the playoffs and a team like Toronto isn't, is just based on like what they're built on. So you look at Boston's goaltending, right? Out of this world, both goalies are really good. Allmark is the best goalie by far out of any of those four, right? Boston's defense, in terms of defensive players, they're built around Bergeron, Marchand, and McAvoy. Pasternak is the cute little thing that they have that just scores a shit ton of goals.
Yeah.
Sorry, bleep that. But that's the Leafs just have like four players that are like Pasternak. Boston has that one player, and then they have Bergeron, Marchand, and McAvoy who provide offense, but their defense is out of this world. And they like shut everything down. And like scoring depth wise, neither team is like deep in terms of that. Like I don't even think Boston has that many players in their bottom six that are like contributing to offense or anything like that. It's kind of similar to Toronto. But I guess they have.
I would disagree.
Who do they have in the bottom six?
They have Nick Foligno. They have Pavel Zacha. They have Guerrier, who has a weird amount of goals. Like Trent Frederick has like over 10. I feel like they have like three or four guys that are like
that. Honestly, that just adds to my point because like then like for me that just proves why they have like 5 freaking losses that year. Like if you are definitely right about that. Now
to Ottawa, by the way.
Okay, no, you are definitely right about that when you're saying that they do have better depth scoring. And like thing is, I think Toronto, if you look at their last season's bottom six to this year's bottom six, it's significantly worse. But on top of that, my point is that like a team like Boston, the reason that they get far in the playoffs pretty much every year is because their 3 core pieces are really good defensive players, and the offense that they provide is kind of just a bonus. On top of that, you add a guy like Pasternak, and that's just what makes them from like a really good team to a great team. Because Pasternak is
you
just
also
like
had Taylor Hall.
Yeah, but Taylor Hall isn't even playing that good. Like
he's not, but he's still there.
And you still also have David Krejci, who's point per game at like 38 or whatever he is. Like
exactly, but
they have people who can score on so many lines.
And the thing is, like those players aren't like they're not making like crazy amounts of money. Like I think Bergeron's making like 5 this year. I think his like
he's making 2.5.
No, his 2.5, but he's like the 2. He's getting 2.5 more based on like performances, right? Which he's obviously going to hit. I think the performance bonus was him playing like 10 games or something like that. So that's already like done. And then Marchand's making like 6.5, and McAvoy is playing like a guy that could be making 14 million, but he's making 9.5.
Pasternak for this year's lower.
6, yeah.
Krejci's on $1 million. Hall's on like 6-ish.
Yeah, and Toronto's never going to have that luxury, I guess, because they have to overplay players maybe, and like the players that they did have are like really flashy high offensive superstars that kind of just like you have to pay them more money to like keep them on your team. Like I imagine that Boston's going to have to pay Pasternak like Matthews Marner type money just to keep him.
Yeah, he's gonna be like an $11 million player. Yeah.
My thing is that even if they lose Pasternak, they're still going to be a really good team, and they can just use that money to like allocate it to scoring somewhere else. Like,
Yeah.
it's always going to hurt, but they'll still survive.
Yeah, I mean, so like, yeah, you can you com you can compare Toronto or Boston in that light, sure, but like, I mean, if you ask me this season, there's no team you can compare Boston to really, because
They're also playing insane.
they're just
So,
insanely they're
yeah.
just they're at another level this year compared to any team right now. So, it's like there's no argument on who the best team in the league is right now. But yeah, I mean,
Pittsburgh.
Toronto's got to move it with these four guys, and that's what Dubas is riding on. So we'll see.
But and that's the thing. Like, you're kind of just like throwing the same thing at the wall and hoping it works.
It is the same thing at the wall, and this season is a bit more concerning. Not because we're not. I believe our season's been going great actually, but um, just our goaltending is a huge issue going into the playoffs. Like we have, we're winning our games and we're getting some decent stretches out of Murray. We're getting some decent stretches out of Samsonov. Then we're getting weak stretches out of both of them. But we've been above water. We've been floating with them, and been able to win games, and they've been providing us adequate goaltending as a duo for the season so far. But
it's also because Keefe's a good coach,
and it's also because Keefe's a good coach, yes. But it's a different ballgame in the playoffs, and I just I can't help but think that they got to be, the back office has got to be sitting there thinking like, can we really legitimately go into the playoffs with this good of a team right now with this goaltending? Like, can we? Yeah, it's been fine, but can we risk another first round exit and it be a goalie's fault right now? Because the goalies we have, it can very much just be a goalie, both goalies, or whichever goalie we choose to run with in the playoffs is just not doing it.
Yeah, well, there's no, and they can't really do anything about that now.
They can't do anything about it right now. And I'm just wondering if they have something planned in terms of trade or anything like that. I don't know.
I don't even think goaltending is like a thing that they're looking at, right? Because
that's what I mean. I mean,
most of their trade rumors are based around like depth scoring and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I mean, it's hard for me to see a Stanley Cup run with Samsonov in net. And it's also very hard for me to see a Stanley Cup run with Murray in net. And the only reason I lean a bit more towards Murray in it, and I can see it a bit more with Murray, is because he's been there before, like 5-6 years ago with Pittsburgh. So he's done it then. So I'm riding on the hope that, hey, you know what? Maybe it's the playoffs is when Murray livens up and he'll have a nice stretch in the playoffs where he'll just be instant, and there you go.
His last playoff run wasn't very good.
Whatever, but I mean, it's uncomfortable right now. Like I would say I wasn't like 100% comfortable going into the playoffs with Jack Campbell, but
you could have Boston's record right now and you wouldn't be comfortable going into
I would never be comfortable. Yeah, right now it's like not. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But the goalie issue is a thing for me right now. Yes, because the both goalies.
Is goalie issue more of a concern than depth scoring though for you?
This season it's more of a concern right now. Yes. It wasn't more of a concern like last season for me, but yeah, this season right now it's more of a concern. I mean, both are concerns because even last season, our depth scoring was really good, but in the playoffs it just went.
Yeah, but that's my thing. Like now, you guys now the bottom six as well. Like there's a player in your bottom six that I saw his name yesterday. I looked him up and I still can't remember him.
McMahon.
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
Where the heck did he even come from?
He was a trade actually, just I believe a month ago, maybe a bit more or around that. I can't remember who went the other way. I believe it was a trade.
Was it the Curtis Gabriel trade?
I don't know. I don't remember, to be honest. It was both names.
Yeah, but again, he might be the best player in the bottom six, dang.
No, I mean, like players having decent seasons in the bottom six, it's all right. It's not gonna, like, the bottom six is gonna be irrelevant in the playoffs.
Is it though? That's been the problem in the playoffs because
that's what I mean. I'm saying they're gonna be irrelevant in terms of they're not gonna.
They need to provide the rest of the thing.
They're not gonna provide. I mean I don't see them providing in the playoffs.
But that's the inherent problem with having a core four that makes $40 million.
Like last season, we had a bottom six, I think, that did pretty well in the season. We had Mikheyev. Engvall was having a good season in terms of production. Andre Kasha was playing really well. So we had a few guys who were like, hey, going into the playoffs with these guys, and they were going in hot too. Like Engvall was scoring going in, Kasha was playing well going in. So we had guys that were playing well going in, but in the playoffs,
but now it's like even worse than those.
bottom six the depth has taken a hit, and last year there was a dry up in the bottom six, and this year I just don't know if they're gonna really produce.
They have guys that are really good bottom six forwards, but the problem is that they're playing in the top six right now, like Calle Yarncroc.
Kyle Youngcroft, there you go.
But he's also like their first line right winger right now.
He's second line, but
Yeah.
yeah. So it's I mean this story starts and ends with Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander.
Very well, yeah.
And it's not even like they're trying to show that there's more there. It's very clear that this team we are these four guys, and these four guys we trust to take us to the end, and they're gonna keep throwing them at us until someone gets fired, or it actually does happen,
Or they get traded,
or they get until this core has its time, and until
I think Dubas gets fired before they get
or
traded.
until Dubas gets fired, whatever. Like Dubas is riding these four guys, and he's like, I succeed or I die with these four guys. And yes, I just heard it. I just heard it.
In my opinion, if they don't make the playoffs this year, I could see them keeping him Matthews because he's so good defensively and such an elite goal scorer. I could see them keeping Nylander because he's
Did you say if they don't make the playoffs?
No, sorry, if they lose in the first round or something. And then I see them trading Marner and Tavares. Those would be the two I think they move.
And the thing is, like, Marner is technically their best defensive forward, but because of how he contributes and stuff like that. But Matthews has had the roughest year defensively, and I don't know if that's by virtue of him playing.
He's also the face of the freaking NHL.
Well, he's never gonna get dealt. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying for me, the fact that Marner is still playing good defensively, being off his line versus Matthews now is playing with Nylander, I think it just makes sense why Matthews is playing not as good defensively. They're taking a lot more chances offensively, and maybe that's why both of them are producing. But I don't know. The thing is, I do agree with you. I think Tavares would be the first to go, and then
I mean, yeah, he would have to.
I think Nylander too, because Nylander, what's that next contract looking like?
Nylander
not 11, or it shouldn't be.
I mean, Nylander had. I think. Well, I mean, even before Tavares, Nylander would have to go. His contract right now is sweet with his production at the moment.
It's tradable,
so it's a very tradable contract right now, and it would have to go if it's another first round exit.
Tavares for Carlson. Just trade two bad ones at the same time. Although Carlson's contract is actually looking good now, so
yeah.
I mean, age wise, maybe not, but
the thing with the first See the thing, but see,
you have a way with words.
The thing,
it's a wordsmith.
The thing with me right now, and I would say the thing with a lot of Leafs fans right now is that the quality of the team is not even a concern right now going into the playoffs, because the quality of the team has proven that it's not why they're losing every year. It's like, they lost to Montreal after going up 3-1 when they were clearly the better team in every aspect, apart from goalie, if you want to still give Price his due for that season, whatever.
That's literally the only reason they won.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying, but so he was the only one there. But I mean, that was it feels more just like there's this I don't know, a curse or something. Like you just gotta lift it. Like every time we're just right there, and even
though the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, it's just not like against Tampa last year too. It wasn't it never felt like, oh, this team's too good for us.
The Bills
barely hanging in, right? Yeah. Like it was like, no, we're right there. We're in Game 7 again. We're right there, and this is a team we can beat. But for some reason, we just can't beat anyone. Whether it's Montreal, whether it's Tampa, whether it's Boston. So the quality of the team we're facing and the quality of the team that we are, the team this trade, that trade. I don't think people are worried about that as much. We're just let's just get over this hump, because it feels like a curse more than a logistic player move or something. Yeah.
So one last thing I would like to say, and then we can move on to our stat game. Omar has a stat today, is so Brady Tkachuk in the last game that they lost his mind a little bit, but in his defense, I think he deserves to lose his mind a little bit. He committed long-term to this team, made a lot of big moves, and they're still mediocre. And so some people are saying it was bad, whatever. I get it. you wanted to be on a competitive team for so long and you've never had a run at it really. And then also Matthew Joseph got scratched when he was supposed to play his brother, but he did play the next game against him. And they took high sticking penalties on each other at the exact same time. I've never seen that ever, and they were brothers. Like that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't know. The Kachuk thing, I didn't even see what happened.
I didn't see what happened. What do you? Yeah,
What do you mean loses
Like
by
apparently just at the end of the game against who did they play last? Winnipeg.
Yeah.
He just like fought someone and got a misconduct and like was breaking stuff in the hallway and things. It's like,
Yeah.
man, he's a captain of the team of a team that should be better. Like realistically, like, I'm not saying they're a playoff team, but they should be like the Islanders or something. Like
Bedard conversation.
yeah, I know.
exactly. So just frustrating. And
which is why I'm still puzzled by both of your mid-season score grades for them. The Bs, still puzzled at that.
I just had low expectations.
I would say a B is as expected, which at the time it was about as what I expected.
You had them in the playoffs. Obviously, they're not gonna.
No, this is. I think we all agree. Even if
now it's less, but they also haven't had this bad of a stretch. Like the ones where they lost like a lot of games, they were at least like close games. This is like
they lost like I think in the first like
6-2 or something like that. Like
yeah, in their like first 20 games, let's say they won like 3 games or whatever it was.
What was the score the other day against Winnipeg?
It's like
5-1.
Oh boy, yeah.
But yeah, they won like let's say 3 games of their first like 16 or whatever. I think all but 1 or 2 were 1-goal losses. All right, so Omar has a stat picked out for us today. Hopefully, it's as complex as last time. And shout out Brendan and Liam. You guys can play along. Some of our friends listen to what we say and play along with us. If you want to pause the podcast, guess yourself, guess with a friend. Feel absolutely free. And Omar, you take it away.
All right, so today's stat. Now, we've done a few obscure ones. We've done one that made no sense, courtesy me.
And the only obscure or weird one was you.
No, obscure ones meaning block shots. That's pretty obscure. Come on, right?
Yeah, it's like goals or assists.
Even we also did a time on ice, which is a pretty obscure one. That was pretty different.
I would consider obscure like advanced stats.
Okay.
I can count yours as like not even a stat because we still don't know what the top 10 was.
Yeah, true. Anywho, the stat that I have today, so just for anyone who hasn't listened to the previous games that we've played, this is I think our 4th one we're doing with the stat game. So, for anyone that hasn't listened to the previous ones, as of yet, none of us have gotten the actual stat game right without losing all of our strikes. Yeah. So it's been a failure every time. So today's stat, I think, is a gettable stat. It's not too difficult, I don't think. There might be a couple of names in this stat that might be a bit difficult, but I think you two know your hockey enough to get it. So my stat's going to be since the 2015-16 season, who are the top 10 right wingers in goals scored?
Since what season?
2015.
Like they've always been listed as a right wing, or they're currently listed as a right wing.
The top 10 right wingers in goals.
He's on NHL.com too. It's gonna be annoying.
Top 10 right wingers in goals. 2015.
Like including this season?
Including this season so far, yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, there's one for sure. That's Patrick.
Yeah. Paul Mary. Oh.
Patrick Kane, I think, is confident in saying that.
I think Patrick Kane could be one. I think Pasternak could be one. I think Marner could be one.
Pasternak's first. I remember
go. Do you think that Laine could be one?
Potentially.
I think we can left wing. Gaudreau's a left wing.
I think we can say Kane, Pasternak pretty confidently.
Okay.
So Kane
is with 233 goals. Number 2.
Oh, thank God. Okay, Pasternak.
With 266 goals. Number 1.
Yeah, okay. Damn, I actually got that right. Kucherov.
With 226 goals. 3rd.
Okay, we got the first 3.
So we could say Marner next. I think Line
But by the way, you
could
have
be there.
3 strikes for this, by the way. Okay, 3 strikes.
That's fair.
So Line could be there.
My whole thing,
Matthew Tkachuk is listed as a left wing.
that was my concern because I like when I was doing my top wingers list, I couldn't decide on which side to put him on because on one side he had left, one side he had right. I can't remember what I had on this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, what the ones we know for sure first.
So the thing is, on Calgary, he was a right winger the entire year because Goudreau was left.
Yeah.
So we can save him for later.
Okay.
Thing is, line.
I
don't know.
I mean, Marner could probably be
Marner,
one.
I'm confident in, yeah. Marner?
Mitch Marner.
Are you going with Marner?
We're going with Marner.
Yes.
Mitch Marner is not on there.
From your Ottawa Senators, Alex DeBrincat.
Left winger.
Oh, he's a right winger.
He's listed as a left winger.
Is he actually?
Yeah.
Nylander. Giroux played right wing. I think a little bit.
The friggin' position eligibility is gonna piss me off because watching
Yeah. Okay. Would these guys be guys we know as right wingers? All of them.
As guys, you know, as right wingers.
So I can be like,
Like, are there some tricky ones?
ooh,
There is one tricky one in here who you might know as a previous left winger and is currently a right winger. Yes.
Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah. Ooh, Rantanen, yes.
Is that you going with it?
Yeah.
Mikko Rantanen with 197 goals.
Okay, that's fine.
Is number 4.
4 at 197. Wow.
Oh yeah, he only 1 strike, by the way.
Blake Wheeler maybe. He's a lot of assists, but
Tarasenko.
Ooh,
I don't know
okay.
if he's played. I don't know if he's played enough.
Tarasenko's for sure a right winger.
But is he played enough in the past?
Yeah, I think so. Because in that time span, he had like multiple late 30 goals in seasons. I would say so. If the bar is like a 190 or something like that, like I would say so. This one can be on me. I say Tarasenko. Hey, Tarasenko.
You going with Tarasenko? Sorry, number 5.
Oh,
I missed his name there. Sorry. He's number 5.
Stone.
Omar's the worst at these
With
games.
196 goals, he's number 5.
Stone.
He's one less than Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah,
Bro, I told you that because there's in that time span he had like 3 or 4 seasons where it was like late 30s in goals. And Rantanen didn't start playing.
I mean, I did think of him.
Rantanen's first like good season was 17-18, I think, or something like that. So
Stone could be one for sure. Wheeler could be one for sure.
Stone, Wheeler, I think are probably gonna be the same range. Was Pavelski a center or right winger?
Ooh,
Because that he would for sure be on some sort of list, but I don't know what he'd be listed as.
see,
On
I
Dallas,
think of
he's a right winger.
Yeah, I think Pavelski as like a center traditionally.
But he hasn't played center in like a long time though, because even on San Jose, he was on Thornton's wing, and then on Dallas, Rope Hintz plays center. Robertson's on the left. Pavelski's on the right. Kreider's a left winger. Pacioretty's a left winger.
Gensel's a left winger.
Gensel's left winger. Svechnikov's a left winger.
Phil Kessel.
Kess could be there, but that was like
I saw Omar's head pop up too, and I said that he was like, "Oh."
So he was on Pittsburgh in 16 and 17, and those were his highest point producing seasons. Like it's just after that, he didn't really do that much. I feel like because he was smiling, he could be like 11 or something like that. I would honestly be decently okay with saying like Blake Wheeler.
So we have who are the ones we have right now? We have Wheeler.
So wait, so which ones you've got it or which ones you're thinking of?
You're thinking of
Okay.
Wheeler, Pavelski, Kachuk,
maybe Line A.
I
feel like Line A's there.
What wing is this guy on, bro?
Okay, no, but think he had a 40-goal season.
I've not
probably had another couple
concerned.
30.
I'm
so
not
that's already 100.
I'm not concerned with his goals. I'm concerned with his position and his injury status.
So you think Wheeler's the safest one?
For like
Our last strike.
for like 5
No, you have
years.
1 strike, not 2. You're not
Oh
just
yeah, because you freaking can't read.
right. Tarasenko, yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
true. Okay, yeah. I mean, then
You still got 2 strikes.
I'd be okay with Wheeler. I'd be okay with Stone. Who do you think between those two? I'd say Wheeler.
Wheeler, is that a consensus? Are we putting that in?
Yeah.
All right, Blake Wheeler with 161 goals is number 15.
15?
Number
Oh,
15.
it's actually not that like spread out.
So second strike, you got 1 strike left, and you got 5 players left to get.
Why do I feel like TJ Oshie is going to be here?
No way. 160 something's in the teens.
That's 30. Line A, I'm more sure of
If
being.
we ask you a position of someone, can you tell us?
Just don't guess Liney because I don't think they're using Liney as a right winger.
Okay.
I'll leave your confusions out.
I don't think DeBrincat is there. I think DeBrincat has been a left winger for a while.
So I'm not going to tell you where DeBrincat is, but DeBrincat in this is in somewhere in like the top 50 here with as a right winger. I'm not telling you where he is.
Then
but
Alex DeBrincat is there. He's had 2 41 goal seasons, a 39 goal season.
If he's on there, then he's in the top 10.
It's Alex DeBrincat.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Alex DeBrincat with 175 goals is number 7.
Ooh.
That's a drop off. Someone's 6 with like between that, like 175 to 190 is 5.
Is anyone retired?
Nope, these are all current players.
I could see Pavelski if he's as a right
Is
winger.
Pavelski on there somewhere?
On the list?
Yeah.
Pavelski, I do not see. I wouldn't guess it.
Okay, so I guess he's a center on
Yeah.
there.
Okay, that's what I would have. Timo Meyer's right wing.
Meyer has had 2 30-goal seasons, so I wouldn't say so.
Just throwing out people. Okay, so Stone, Line.
Line wasn't listed as right winger.
Yeah, I
Oh,
wouldn't
right. Sorry, Stone.
We only have Stone right now.
help you. You've got number 1, David Pasternak, number 2, Patrick Kane, number 3, Kucherov, number 4, Rantanen, number 5, Tarasenko, number 7, DeBrincat. You're missing 6, 8, 9, and 10.
Stone over Besser.
I think Stone's a good.
Is Matt Duchene listed as a right wing now?
No, Matt Duchene is not here.
Oh no, yeah, no. Forsberg's a left winger.
Okay, who are you giving me?
Stone. Let's just go Stone. That's all we have. That's like viable.
Okay.
Stone with 166 goals. Number 12.
Oh,
Is he tied for 10?
No, he is not tied for 10. Number 10 has 171.
ooh, that.
Okay, let us just guess.
Are we done
Is it
now?
Brock Besser?
That's 3 strikes, yeah.
Kessel.
Phil Kessel is at number 16.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I forgot I said him earlier. Okay. Brock Besser.
Brock Besser is not in the top 10. He's number 28.
Is Nylander a left or right winger on this?
He's a
Nylander
right winger.
is the right winger, but Nylander is not in the top 10. Nylander
Is Elias Lindholm was he a right winger at one point?
At one point, yeah, but he should be a center now. I think it's what they are now.
Yeah, that's what they are now.
Because DeBrincat would be a left winger otherwise. Mike Hoffman.
Do you want me to give you the names?
No. We can do this.
Bro, we need
Let's
to
just throw names. Entertain's left wing. O'Connor's left wing.
There's left wing.
Nikolai Ehlers is the left wing, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Connor's a left wing.
I said that.
Keller.
Thanks for saying it again. Oh, he's a left wing.
Keller's right wing.
Left wing.
I don't know. He was playing on the right side when we played them in Arizona, but maybe he's
I
not.
think like someone like Jonathan Marchessault or something.
Ooh, Marchessault.
Marchessault?
Yeah.
Number 8.
Jordan Eberle.
Ebbs?
No.
Rock and Nelson.
Soon Kaprizov.
Is Zuccarello left or right wing?
He's left, I think.
Then he wouldn't be.
Zuccarello is 24th.
Okay, was right
listed
wing.
as right wing. Yeah.
Who else even exists? Are some of them like kind of not good now?
Can you give us? Okay.
So there's a couple. I mean, no, the number 6 one.
It's still good.
You guys aren't thinking of him, but you should get him. Number.
Have we said
9,
the names of the people that are left?
Number 6, you haven't said his name at all. You haven't even thought of him. And
He's not retired.
And number 9, you haven't even thought of him. I don't think you're gonna think of him because right now he ain't anywhere near.
Wayne Simmons.
Wayne Simmons.
No, Wayne Simmons is not on there. No.
Voracek.
Wayne Simmons is 29th. No, not Voracek.
Shenanigans.
And number 10 also it's a bit of a tough one.
Okay, because some people like Jeff Skinner, for example, I think is a left wing. Oh, Tuck. Fiala, Dustin Brown.
Dustin Brown. No, he's retired. Justin Williams. Alexander 7.
Anthony Duclair. Oh, Sam Reinhart.
Ooh. Ilya Kovalchuk. Andrew Ladd.
Should I give them to you?
Give us teams. Give us the teams.
No, not teams. Give us a comp. Give us a division.
Okay, let's for number 9. You said you not for number 9, but just for the number 9.
Don't make it too easy.
Think around Dustin Brown. Who played around Dustin Brown for a long
Aaron Gabrick.
Jeff Carter. Mike Richards. I don't know.
Around him.
Like in the same team.
Another decently big LA Kings name.
I said Justin Williams.
No. Who no longer plays for the LA Kings.
He's a right wing.
He's a right wing. He spent a little bit of if I give you this, it's gonna be too easy. But should I just give it to you, the hint?
Did he win a Stanley Cup with the LA Kings?
He won a Stanley Cup with the LA Kings, yes.
Who's this elite goal scorer?
Like what?
Was he very good with them?
Well, he's on the top 10 in goals scored since 15-16.
That's
no, but was he good with LA?
He was good with LA. He probably had his best years in LA.
Why should not be LA?
Yeah, it's not LA. It's someone else.
Played for Montreal for a little bit after. He was playing for Montreal. He was playing for Montreal against Toronto in the series. In the 2020 lockdown series, he was on Montreal.
Who the heck?
Stahl, even though he didn't
That's the only thing I think of. It's not even like a.
It's a LA Kings name. Come on, guys.
I'm actually like
Montreal, Brendan Gallagher.
Oh, I'm wrong. He didn't play for LA. I was gonna say Thomas Vanek.
He's also retired.
Yeah, I know.
Brendan Gallagher.
Are you sure this guy played for LA?
He played for the Los Angeles Kings from the 2013-14 season until the 2019-20 season. In 2019-20, he got traded to the Vancouver Canucks. And then in 2020-21, he was playing for Montreal. He is currently playing for the Calgary Flames.
Oh.
Elon Lucic or something like that. Oh,
wait.
Oh, Tyler Toffoli.
Tyler Toffoli.
That's so random.
Super random.
He's number 9.
Okay.
I would have never thought of Toffoli. I'm going to be honest. Wouldn't have gotten him. He's like a 25 goal
we
scorer.
had one season where he's like 35 goals or something like that. But it was one season. Like a bunch of late 20s, I guess. But
173 goals in 550 games since 2015-16.
Maybe because he's late 20s in goals and he doesn't get injured. Like I guess.
Okay, other guy, give us a division or like a conference.
Okay, for number 6, Metropolitan. Yeah.
Okay, let's go through the teams.
This is
Pittsburgh.
This is number 6. He's had 481 games played since 15-16. He has 177 goals. He plays for a team in the Central. Not in the Central, in the Metropolitan, but not in the top 3.
Okay.
He plays for one of the bottom teams.
So it's not even like Washington or Pittsburgh.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Well,
so maybe
you're fired.
Is it like Josh Bailey?
No, he doesn't score ever.
I know, but I don't know at this point. It was Tyler Toffoli, bro.
No, it's not. Yeah. But it's one of the bottom feeders of.
Okay. Wait.
Boom.
Columbus. Gustav Nyquist.
Is it Gush?
No.
Bjorkstrand.
Philly. Connect me.
It is the Philadelphia Flyers.
Van Riemsdyk. Connect me.
Okay.
Kevin Hayes.
His last name starts with an A.
I'll make you well. I don't. A. Arvidsson?
No, but the name sounds similar to that, just different letters.
And Arvidsson's in LA.
Are you sure this guy plays for the Flyers?
A.
Who?
Who is this guy?
Axelson.
Anderson.
Anson.
And Riemsdyk.
Let's end with a sin.
And Asen.
Who that, bro? There's no way this is someone.
This
6.
Is he on like IR or something? He's definitely not on the Flyers.
Like I can't even like. Where else has he played?
Oh, Cam Atkinson.
Yes.
Oh,
He didn't even play this year.
he
Frick.
barely played the series on Columbus too. Before
He was
Wow,
a
people are
Columbus
gonna be
core.
yelling at us.
and then 10th.
He was
Just
gonna
give us like a
and number 10.
give me a big hit for
This
those.
is my favorite one. Okay. Number 10.
Give me a team.
He's in the Metro.
TJ Oshie, Tom Wilson.
Oshie.
It's Oshie. It's so funny how he said it earlier in the game too, and Evan was like, "No, he's number 10."
He doesn't play.
He doesn't play now, but he did play for like 6 straight years. It's just now that he gets hurt.
Oh, that was a
It's
good
like
one.
every
I
5
thought I
games.
thought you guys were gonna fly through it. I thought maybe a couple of them, like Toffoli and Atkinson, would give you a bit of trouble, but you'd eventually get them.
Atkinson, we should have
But
got.
yeah.
Low key, I think we should have got it. Atkinson.
I thought you were gonna jump on TJ Oshie. I was like, TJ
I
Oshie's
did
gonna
say
know.
Oshie.
Yeah, but you said it, but like you didn't fight for him, and you said him pretty late. I was like, oh, Sufi's gonna know that TJ Oshie's the top 10 for scoring. But that is our stat game for today. Top 10 in right winger goals since 15-16.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the NHL in general.
But big
So
news:
Yeah, screw the Vancouver Canucks management.
Bruce Boudreau getting fired.
Finally.
Um,
And Rick Tocchet getting hired.
I feel bad for Boudreau.
Well, do you understand? Like, did you see what happened with like all that?
I'm not so yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the details are.
Essentially, it got like leaked or something like a while ago because it was basically a case that like Tocchet couldn't leave his contract or something for like 2 weeks, and that was the only reason that they hadn't fired Boudreau yet. Boudreau, is that his? I don't know why I just couldn't say his name. But that's why they couldn't hire him yet. And then the last like few games, you could tell that he knew that he was getting fired, but like no one really talked to him about it. It was kind of just like media driven at that point, which is what Vancouver is like claiming innocence on, that they purely didn't have any intention of firing him until like yesterday, even though everything happened exactly the way that the media was saying it was going to happen. It was like it happened at the exact same time that Tocchet's contract was over. It happened to be that Tocchet was the one that got hired. It was the exact game that Boudreau was supposed to end. Everything happened in the exact same order that everyone was saying to begin with. So I don't really think that Vancouver can really claim innocence on this. And like, I don't know. It's for a guy that's been in the league for 40 years or whatever it was. It's not the best way to treat him. And I think he's honestly a better coach than a significant portion of the league's coaches right now. So I don't know. I think he gets a job at some point here, or maybe he just replaces
Ottawa.
Honestly, then maybe, who knows? I wanted to go to Washington, so maybe he can make our offensive lines a little better.
I mean, it's been tough with Boudreau because, I mean, he's a coach that has always been able to get his teams to produce offensively and have good regular seasons, but he's never made it over the hump to get his team far in the playoffs. Round 2, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is the furthest he's gone.
So you should do Leafs and Boudreau, and they'll counteract each other, and then they'll make the second round.
He's a big Leafs fan, actually.
The weird thing with him though is he's always been on teams that are based their core is significantly based around their offense. Aside from like Anaheim, that was just because I don't know, their team was not really that great while he was there.
He's great at coaching a team.
We don't know if he's good with like a defensive minded team realistically. Like we haven't seen that in his career where he's been on more of like a defensive like oriented team. Like Washington, high octane offense. Even Vancouver, like they were built around offense. They weren't built around anything else.
Yeah, I mean, but would you say Minnesota is all offense when he was on there? I would say Minnesota had
not per se.
Yeah.
So I guess we have seen that. But the thing is, like Minnesota's team at that time wasn't that great either. Like it isn't what it is now.
Yeah, but I mean, they were still pretty. Like he had good seasons with them. And I would say he also had. Did he have a decent season or two? He was with Anaheim for a bit too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in Anaheim. Anaheim was probably his longest after Washington.
Yeah. Anaheim is where he went right after Washington, right?
Yeah.
That's
probably where he got the furthest. Actually, I don't even know when that was.
Yeah, I don't know. Has he made round 3 or 4? Or not 4 for sure. Has he made round 3?
Who was it that?
Has he made Eastern Conference Finals, or has he always stopped at the quarters?
I think he might have always been stopped at the series.
Because I know with Washington, he never made it past round two. I don't know.
Thanks for that. Yeah, we made it there eventually. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Okay, regardless of that, I don't think that like for a guy that's been in the league for that year, for that long, you treat a guy like that. So that's
No,
cool.
you don't know.
Did you hear?
I think he's a nice guy. I think he's a good coach.
I think he'd be a really good assistant coach.
I think I just don't know if he's proven that he's the guy you want to go with if you're looking for the cup or if you're looking for a far run in the playoffs.
But
he hasn't proven it yet. I know he can. I know maybe he needs more of a chance to prove it with a team that's structured differently than he's dealt with. But
maybe he's not like meant to be like a head coach. Then that's the thing. Like or like at this point in his career, either maybe he was like purely based on like be a assistant coach where you're like less intense and you can have like a little more fun, which he seems to have regardless. And then he can be like more on like the power play side, specialist wise.
It's also hard to argue that too, though, just because he's a pretty successful regular season coach.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but the thing is, like, I'm saying for like a team that already has like a good foundation, like
that
has a good coach, like he can be like a more of a weapon in like the offense department.
Yeah,
in that case.
I mean, I mean,
add him to Keith's coaching staff. Mint.
Yeah, I'd love it. But yeah, I mean, I see him back as a head coach, not too far away. Yeah, I do see him back as a head coach. Let's see what happens.
He was pretty good on like TV panels too when he didn't have a job for a while.
Yeah, like I don't think this is a Ron Wilson situation where
Ron Wilson was also just bad.
But I mean, like Ron Wilson had some good years in San Jose, comes to Toronto, and then he gets fired eventually, and then he just never works again as a head coach.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see that. I think we'll see him back behind the bench.
I think Toronto ends a lot of coaching careers, low-key. Mac Babcock.
Well, Babcock ended his own career.
Okay.
Paul Maurice is
such a media-driven city. Do you think he would have
Paul Maurice is doing horrible in Florida right now.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still
like no, but that's the thing. Yeah. Like I think Paul Maurice has like faked his way into being a coach. Look how good Winnipeg's doing right now without Paul Maurice, and look how much Florida dropped from last year with basically the same team as Paul Maurice as their head coach.
Yeah, I wouldn't say basically
some good
the same
seasons
team.
in Winnipeg.
Okay, well the thing is that's the thing though, because Huberdeau has been like horrible this year, and Tkachuk has been like better than like those two players combined at this point. So like that trade didn't really make them any worse.
You don't have Duclair. You lost the defenseman still that would have played a lot of minutes. I don't know. You still don't have like the best goaltending.
I don't think that should have dropped them that much in the standings where they were like the 120 point team to like maybe not even make the playoffs this year. That's my point. Like I think they still had enough pieces to like be a team that's contending at least to be like a decent playoff team. And saying that I did say that they would miss playoffs, but I don't know. I do think that happen. But it also just speaks to like the fact that Winnipeg is doing as well as they are with someone else as their head coach.
Who called that?
Oh yeah, Evans looking good.
As long as Florida doesn't make the playoffs, I can claim innocence. It's fine. So he just messes up by putting Ottawa in the playoffs.
Yeah,
his was Toronto to be first in the division, right?
I chose Boston to forget that. I chose Boston to miss.
Oh yeah, you're screwed regardless.
Toronto, I don't know. You don't really care about that one. I chose Boston to miss. And they have freaking 5 losses all season.
Boston to miss and Ottawa to make the playoffs is like the
My rankings when we said end of season, we look over our rankings video and see what we did. It's going to be terrible for me.
Maybe we should check that at like the All-Star game.
Yeah,
just see where we are because I don't even remember what I picked.
Yeah,
to be honest, but
mine's I don't even want to see where because mine's just terrible.
Well, I think I had New Jersey missing.
I think we all had New Jersey missing. I think we all had New Jersey at like. I think I had New Jersey at 6. I think you guys had them at like 7 or 8.
Yeah, I don't remember when I had New Jersey at all.
Oh yeah, because I had Philly and Columbus at 7, 8. Because Philly is, but then Philly is actually like not doing bad, but they're still like very low. Because the Metro is way better than everyone thought it would be.
Mm-hmm. Any other NHL topics we'd like to touch on before we go to our head-to-head?
Charlie McAvoy's gross. I don't know if you guys saw that goal that he scored. Yesterday. Ooh.
That was very gross.
Oh, I didn't see yesterday's goal. No,
nasty. It was like the fact that he could be considered a defensive defenseman and he has like hands like that is insane.
I stay away from Boston highlights.
I mean, it's
usually against Toronto.
Yeah, that's also true. Also, yeah, Pasternak had a really very good game against Toronto that game, and I don't know, he's kind of just the best player on the ice. But yeah,
Oh,
what's
did you hear
Yeah, go
about
ahead. Go for it, Kim.
Oh yeah, I remember
Rick
that.
Tocchet coming in? Apparently, it's also to control JT Miller, the guy I said that I don't like because he seems
I think that's also
like a not nice person. And look who's right.
not really. I mean, that's also just up to it's because people see some blowups on the ice, like, and then just assume that there's stuff going on in the room. I don't know. The Rick Tocchet thing, like, you're also just going to fight fire with fire, and that might just not end up going well at all.
So for this head to head, we may have used one of these players before a while ago. Not 100%
That's
sure,
right.
but
Maybe
I thought because of maybe some recency bias and that both these players are young and up and coming, who would you rather have on your team? Would you rather have Kirby Doc or Alex Lafreniere?
easy.
So one was an ex first overall pick playing for the New York Rangers. He's had a pretty decent season, not awful, but still also a first overall pick. Kirby Doc, had only 40 points last year in 72 games, but then this year playing on the first line after successful surgery. He's been playing pretty good. I mean,
I
like
mean,
he had like a good start, and then he went through like a quite the dry spell. Been picking up a bit recently. So yeah, my question to you guys is, who would you rather have on your team?
honestly, I don't really know what the point situation is for either of those two guys. It's just if we're just talking strictly based on what I have seen from them in their play, just strictly as like who's been more noticeable out there, it is Doc by like a country mile. Like Lafreniere has had like maybe like a 2 game stretch where he's been like, oh, this guy was a first overall pick and that's why. And then he looks like a seventh rounder the next game. So I don't know. It's pretty cut and dry for me because Doc also, he showed a lot of potential in his like first year in Chicago and then it kind of just dropped off. And I think it was more so based on mix of like injuries and like the team just being like kind of meh and him not getting the ice time that he probably should have or like playing with the guys that he probably should have. He was probably like I think he was playing like deeper in the lineup, and then like in Montreal, he's been like playing in the top six, and yeah, he's a bit of a dry spell, but I think that
It was like 20 games.
yeah, but the thing with that too is I like it's hard to account for stats for a player like that on a team that's not producing offense in general. Like it's been pretty much just Suzuki and Caulfield the whole season producing offense and like I think Doc when he was going through a bit of a dry spell, like he had like 5 or 6 games where he was playing with Suzuki and Caulfield at the time, and then he got taken off that line to like try to infuse some offense somewhere else in the lineup because they were the only two that were scoring. And it becomes tough when you're pretty much the only guy on a line that's able to do anything. I think Lafreniere has now had more than enough opportunity to play in the top six, and he still hasn't shown anything like notable. Like for me, like even if Doc isn't playing well, he uses his size to his advantage. He like uses the speed. He is making plays defensively. He tries to, like at least like throw the body around and like he can be productive in that manner. Lafreniere, if he's not engaged at all
Are you saying that
offensively,
someone's winning because of intangibles? I
I think right
used
now
that
it's
argument before, and you called me a
I think
loser.
both of these players aren't good enough right now to use stats. Like there's just like I you can compare their stats point wise, and it's just like what's the point? Because like for me, in that case, then I would say Doc 100% because Lafreniere's had opportunities in the top six with really freaking good players, and he hasn't produced at all. So if we want to go strictly based on that, as Doc anyway, and then just in terms of the intangibles that you're talking about, like Lafreniere, if he's not engaged offensively, he's literally doing nothing. He's just there and being like a ghost. If Doc is not producing, then he is at least doing something else. But yeah,
Yeah, so this one's easy for me.
Like you also hate Lafreniere. You could have said anyone. You would put Reeves versus
I
Lafreniere.
don't hate Lafreniere as a person or anything. I just think he's
Okay,
the
yeah,
worst. I just think he's the worst first overall pick since I don't know since who. Name me one
Yakupov.
worse in the last 10 years, bro.
Nail Yakupov.
No, but that's the thing. Yakupov wasn't worse at this. Yakupov, however irrelevant he is right now, in his first 3 seasons, he was a lot more relevant than Lafreniere has been in New York. Like, there's no way. Like, Yakupov was still producing at not even at a much higher rate than Lafreniere's, but like he has 6 goals right now through 46 games, 21 points through 46 games. Literally, he's a borderline second line player. He's been able to play with Zibanejad. He's been able to play with Panarin. Like, he's played with talent, and the guy still can't produce. And I see a Ranger game. I don't notice him even once until out of his 6 goals, he scored one the one time I watched him, and that was I didn't notice him all game. He just got a pass in front of the net and he shot it in. It's like, oh look, it's Lafreniere. No, he didn't really even do anything. He just shot the puck in the net. Okay, the other guy gave him the pass. Okay, like
I
it's not
like me and you in ball hockey.
but that's the thing, right? Because
okay, like
yeah,
he's the worst first overall pick I've seen that I can remember.
it's not even like the fact that he isn't producing is one thing, like because he doesn't really have an excuse. Like if Doc had uh a similar situation where he was like playing top 6 minutes, not even on a good team, like just on Chicago or now in Montreal, the fact that he's even producing more than him right now is like, I don't know, it kind of just says it all. Because if Lafreniere is not engaged offensively, he's just a ghost. So yeah, I don't know. If we're talking even like for the rest of their careers, you can say Lafreniere's potential or whatever, but I think that he hasn't shown anything right now that tells me that it's more than Doc in terms of potential. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're gonna go Lafreniere, so
I think it's very close.
I
And I think
I don't
that
know why you think it's really close,
I don't. I
bro.
think
No.
you're definitely just saying this to like be against us, bro. There's no way that you
no, no,
think.
no. Okay, listen, hear me out. I think they're both like fine. Like I don't think either of them are super special. I think Kirby Doc has had, yes, a ton of opportunity this year, but I think also people are giving Alexis Lafreniere a harder time than maybe he deserves. So in New York, for example, that first power play unit, he's not sniffing that at all, even if he wanted to. Kirby Doc gets those opportunities in Montreal. I think if you swap their spots, Alexis Lafreniere has much better season. I think also having Panarin in front of him, he's never sniffing the first line ever
Oh,
because listen,
bro, what?
listen,
He plays on the
because
top 6 in New York. He has for a
listen,
while. Like what?
listen. Thank you.
Oh my god.
So he's never gonna sniff first line because they're both left wingers.
Who?
Panarin and Lafreniere, where Doc, they're moving him up first line with the best players. And yeah, they move stuff around, but then they put him on the first power play, everything they can to kind of like get this guy going, especially since they just traded for him. Where New York has a lot of these guys that they can just let them run loose. So I think if you were to swap spots, I think it'd be a similar kind of result in the sense of Doc would be worse on the Rangers and Lafreniere would be better on the Canes.
That's just
And
not true.
Lafreniere,
That's just
have
not
you
true.
listen to that name? Listen to that name. Does he not sound Quebecois? He would have a
No,
phenomenal time playing in
no,
Montreal.
bro. You're not understanding the
So,
fact that, like
so,
that
so,
Lafreniere does play on the top. He plays
so,
on the right side with Panarin and whoever is the center. Like he plays in the top 6.
so for me,
How does that make sense?
if I had to make a team,
I'm just letting him finish, but I
because they're
don't
both so young, I
He's
think
just he's saying the opposite of what we're
maybe
saying.
yeah.
I lean Lafreniere because I think you guys are giving him way too much. I think if Lafreniere gets like 65 points next year, I'm not going to be surprised.
What do you mean? He's already, you know what? We said that after his first season. Oh, you know what? First season,
How
whatever.
old is he?
He's 21.
Turning 20. Yeah, he's 21.
They look like the same age.
21.
Doc's
Yeah.
22.
Okay, but regardless, like the thing is, the stuff that you're saying is just like as he likes to say, factually incorrect. Because he does play in the top space, he gets opportunities. Maybe he does not play on the top power play. Montreal's power play itself is
And do you know how good that New York power play is?
You know how
You know how
good
many
there's
freaking points he
Montreal's
would get just
Montreal's
standing there with Fox, Panarin, and Zibanejad and Kreider?
like
Like a million.
yeah. But their second power play is like comparable to Montreal's first power play.
But they don't get the same amount of time on the ice.
Yeah, but even like Montreal's first power play, he might not he doesn't even stay on there all the time. Like he's not like a staple on that first power play because
But you
Montreal
still
also
get more minutes than the second
Montreal
unit.
changes their power play a lot. Regardless, why are you talking just exactly what like literally just power play time? Like
You just brought up power
at
play.
even strength, no, but that was the argument you're using. At even strength, they both play top 6 minutes, and he produces way less playing with significantly better players, which you like to use as an example. And even if he's like just chipping in points here and there, he doesn't even get that at 5-on-5 playing with significantly better players. And he's a black hole defensively, which Dach isn't. He doesn't hit. He doesn't do any of those other things that still matter when you're not producing, which both of them really aren't enough to like make that an argument.
Flipping the switch on you, you could also say every time that you don't agree with Omar and I, you also use the exact same arguments that I use for different players. You just said with Dach, like, well, he has the intangibles, like he'll go out and hit them.
No, but that
when I was arguing Brady Tkachuk before, you were like, I don't fucking care about intangibles.
But that's because at that time, Brady Tkachuk's intangibles were better than his actual game. In this case, Dach has also like produced more. Plus, like when he's not producing, he's actually like doing other stuff. Lafreniere doesn't produce and he doesn't do anything else. So, like, where is the positive thing in that?
So if Ovechkin was on the second power play unit,
do you bring the dumbest like friggin' like things into
do you not think he would produce less? Absolutely.
I don't even know how to equate that question in my head because Ovechkin has played 2 minutes on the power play for his entire career.
Exactly. So if he didn't, if he played like 30 seconds of power play time every time,
look at their
he's going to score way less goals.
How many even strength points does Dach have versus 5-on-5? Like, I don't know what that number is. We can figure that out, and then it could just end this whole argument. But regardless, even if they both had like 20 points exactly, both played the exact same amount of minutes, Dach would still be the better player because he isn't a black hole in other parts of his game.
But I think also Lafreniere has, like you said, a better potential. So if you're banking on taking this guy for your team, I think he's the riskier one.
Different. He was a first overall pick, but like realistically, Dach didn't even do that much worse in junior. That his draft was also just better. I'm pretty sure. Like potential wise, I can't even like say that one of them is better than the other. Like I think that both of their absolute maxes is being like a second line player. That's like good. I don't even think that Lafreniere is going to get to that. I don't even know if Lafreniere is going to be in the NHL in a few years. That's how little I think of him.
Okay, this is obviously so biased. If you don't think Lafreniere is going to be in the NHL,
think about pure offensive players. Just think about pure offensive players that don't produce, and where do they end up in their careers? Especially when they've had like issues with staying engaged and like doing the little things or whatever. Like when they don't have the production on their side as their argument, then they just fizzle out and like their careers become either they become fourth liners or like AHL players or like depth players, or they end up in the KHL.
So you think in a couple of years, this is your hot take, that Lafreniere will not be in the NHL?
I think in a few years, if he's playing the way he is right now, I don't see a spot from the NHL.
He's like 21. He's not going to be playing the same way.
My thing is like he hasn't gotten better. He's just gotten worse.
He's just stagnant.
Dach had a good start. He got injured. He went down a bit, and now he's trending back upwards. Lafreniere's been like this, and then it just went down.
So you don't think he can also trend back upwards like Dach magically had?
Maybe, but like he hasn't really shown anything to like say. Like he hasn't shown anything that's like consistent level of play for a certain amount of time.
Let's say the Rangers trade for Patrick Kane at the deadline, and Lafreniere is part of the package. With Lafreniere on the Chicago Blackhawks, first line, he can do what he wants.
He plays on the first line
anyway. You don't think he's not gonna?
I think
he's still gonna hella more points.
He'll produce like 30 points instead of 20. Like what? Like I don't like. You're saying that like because he's going to go from Montreal or from New York's top 6 to Chicago's top 6, he's magically going to score more points.
Yeah, probably.
See, like, okay,
Yeah, then I can't, bro. This is like,
You said they don't score 5-on-5 regardless. Before the Rangers, they don't score 5-on-5. That's true.
and
Their
that's the
power play
reason.
scores, not their
For
second
that.
unit.
The
Their
reason for
first
that
unit
is
scores all the
the
time.
reason for that
And
is
so
because they
Lafreniere
have
doesn't get
guys
the
like
opportunity
Lafreniere
because
in
they
their top
always score on
six.
the power play before he even probably gets on half the time.
Bro. The reason the Rangers aren't good at 5-on-5 is because they have players like Top Lafreniere in their top six. That's just proved my point actually. So thank you. But I don't know.
like,
Yeah, one guy's really ruining the whole five
Yeah,
on
well,
five
no, it's him and
offense.
like Kako and stuff. Like they shouldn't be players that are anywhere near the top six right now, but they are.
So who are you going to put up there?
Well, no, they shouldn't be there, but they are because like the Rangers, that's kind of the situation they have.
see, if you're trying to say if you put Lafreniere on a team like Montreal or Chicago or something, and he'll produce better, I'm just struggling to see that argument because he's getting the playing time in
Swap
New York.
spots, swap their spots.
It's literally
Guarantee
just
you.
it's literally just
No,
power play time, and that doesn't make any
but
sense.
see, he's getting the time in New York. He's getting to, and not only is he getting the time, but he's getting to play with people like Panarin and Zibanejad. So he's getting to play with, you know, why I don't like. I just don't understand your argument.
I'm baffled to why you guys are so sold on Doc. He's had
No,
like
I'm not sold
half
on
a
that.
season where
I haven't
he's
even
played
mentioned.
decent.
He,
I
he
haven't even.
honestly,
I didn't
for
even
me,
mention Doc yet.
for me, either I don't really have strong opinions on
Yeah,
either of these players. It's just that I only
Really, you just
Lafreniere.
like lost your mind.
Like I didn't even mention Doc when I talked. I just bashed on Lafreniere for a little bit, but I just the reason I put Lafreniere lower is because he was a first overall pick and because he's really bombed as a first overall pick in my opinion.
So
I think
you're going off of that, not him as just a player.
no, but even just the player, Doc has been better than him this season so far, and they've been pretty similar.
Have they even been similar? Like,
In
I don't
terms of
know what
their
their
point
stats
produ-
are.
in terms of their point production, I think they've been pretty similar in all three seasons since they've in the last 3 seasons. I think they've been pretty similar. And I think Doc has been a bit better in that sense as well. And at the same time, yeah, Doc is better at the parts when he's not producing. I do agree with Sufi that Doc's better in those instances, and Lafreniere is just completely not even noticeable. But the other thing is with okay, you take a look at a player like Stamkos. His first season, his rookie season was pretty underwhelming, and people were like, "Oh, that's an underwhelming." Like we thought more of him, and then he comes back the next season and he scores like 50 goals, and then after that, it's been like, yeah, okay, his first season was underwhelming, and after that, he's a superstar.
It's the same with McKinnon.
Yeah, and McKinnon as well. But like
Then had three
Lafreniere,
seasons, by the way, where he wasn't that good.
yes, and then
Well, McKinnon's first season was good. After that, he's like,
and then with Lafreniere, it was like, okay, first season he comes in. It was I think his first season was the shortened season because of COVID. So dealing with that, plus it's a rookie season, let's give him a pass on that season. Last season, not much better. This season, going pretty poorly again. Like he's not improving at all.
Nathan McKinnon had 3 seasons
Nathan McKinnon was
where
on
he
the
was not
worst
getting
team
better,
in the
and then
league.
he blew up.
Nathan McKinnon had like a rookie of the year season. He was on two of the worst.
He only
teams
had
of all time.
60 something points.
He had 63 points, and yeah, which is like triple Lafreniere's.
Yeah, but
I'm pretty sure.
Evan, your argument here is that okay, look, it happened. Like this player for a couple of seasons wasn't that great, and then he blew up, and now he's amazing. So Lafreniere is going to do the same thing. I mean, your argument could that could potentially happen out of nowhere, but Lafreniere could be good. But we have we have nothing to go by.
With McKinnon.
Doc also went on such a dry spell that this guy's so inconsistent. He had he had a great 10-game span near the beginning of the season where he was racking up the points. Awesome, cool. But then literally had no points forever. Like you guys are saying this 29. Guy is
bro, your point doesn't make sense because Lafreniere is consistent, but he's just consistently bad. He hasn't at any point where he's been good.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
Doc, you're just proving our point by saying that better. Doc isn't consistent, yes, but he isn't consistently bad.
Like we're not no one is arguing here that Doc is a great player or that Doc is fantastic or Doc is he's 100% I would take Doc. I love Doc. No one's both these players at this point are mediocre. However, Lafreniere is just, when do you notice him on the ice? When do you notice him? Give me a shift, you notice him, and I'll change my mind. But you don't notice this guy. He doesn't do anything.
I'll send you his highlight reel after
Well,
the
no,
game.
he
After
had
the
one
game.
nice goal.
After
Yeah.
this.
Huh?
I'll send you his mixtape after this.
It'd be like a 30-second
But yeah,
clown clip.
he had one nice goal. I think it was this season, right?
No, last season.
Last season. Okay, it was last season.
Detroit.
He had one nice goal. But then again, Bobby Ryan used to score one nice goal every year too.
Lafreniere seems like he reminds me of like a more disengaged, which is surprising, version of Anthony Mantha. A more disengaged version of Anthony Mantha, which is very hard to do. And now Mantha's like healthy scratch because yeah. And the thing with McKinnon too, at that time, like he was on the worst teams ever. Like there were like historically bad teams, and he was putting up like 45 points or something like that. But the difference between McKinnon and Lafreniere at that time is that McKinnon did other stuff, like and he showed off potential that he was able to, like he was like playing consistently and like producing, or maybe the production wasn't there, but he was like creating chances. He was doing the other things. He was whatever, and you could see that McKinnon was a good player. I can't say anything like that about Lafreniere. You could say like he has like one or two highlight reel goals here and there, but
that's all the goals he has anyway. He has six. He has 6 goals this season. Are any of them even highlight reel? If there's, there's like,
I mean, I haven't really, I don't
yeah,
know, but that's my point. Because like realistically, Dach, I think even yes, maybe he has more opportunity in Montreal or whatever in terms of uh being one of the better players. But I think that's like I think if you put Lafreniere there, I don't think he would produce more. I think that it would just be that he'd be playing like 1 minute more, uh, and he would have to fend for himself and like try to create more plays by himself, which I don't think would result in more offense for him because I don't think he's that good of a player. So if you're saying that Lafreniere will go to Montreal and like become a magical point producer because he isn't getting the opportunities to produce for himself in New York, then we just have a disagreement there because I just don't think he has the skill to do that.
Yes, we disagree then.
because he hasn't shown. Okay, let's take a look at like, he hasn't shown that he can carry play on a line like he can be the goalkeeper.
Kirby Dach has never carried play.
He has. He has
never. No.
No, but he has had.
Mm-mm.
He has. I mean, if you want me to bring advanced essences, I can.
I'm sure he finishes pretty decently. But
No, but it's not even the finishing that's good. It's the he drives offense like way more comparatively than Lafreniere.
you're saying on the line of Suzuki, Caulfield, and Dach, where I watched them live, yeah, he had a couple
Also,
points. He was
on that
not
line.
the one doing anything.
He was. He's not. He's
He was
also
like
not
in the
on that
right
line.
spots, which was
You watch.
great.
This whole opinion is based on one game that you went to.
No.
But
Yes,
if you're saying,
the one example,
but if
like,
you're saying that about Doc, then okay, replace Doc with Lafreniere on that line. You think Lafreniere is going to do a lot better then?
I think
no,
that is its potential.
literally
But why? Why do you?
the
What
argument
makes
you're saying
you say that?
the
Though?
argument, even if Doc was producing play at like pushing offense at like a 50% rate, it's still double the amount of offense that Lafreniere pushes in terms of possession numbers and stuff like that. So they can both be bad possession players and like be bad at driving offense. It's just Lafreniere is worse at driving offense than Doc. They could both be bad. It's just they're both not good. And Lafreniere is just worse at driving offense too.
I would take the risk, because that's all I'm saying.
Okay. I wouldn't take the risk on either player actually, but
Yeah,
it's fine.
but these guys aren't worth it. But I'm just saying that I'm just trying to understand where your argument comes from when you say that you put Lafreniere.
Omar, you're a Leafs fan. You don't understand most things about hockey.
Okay. But I'm not understanding when you say if you put Lafreniere on that same line with Suzuki and Caulfield.
Because you went to the game, bro.
Why would
you
why would
ever heard of the name Alex Lafreniere? It's French as heck. He's gonna score. It's just how it works. Guy Lafleur. You heard of him? That's French.
Oh my god. It's too late for
All
this.
right. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in and listening to our podcast. Very thankful that you guys are listening. We do have an announcement. We won't say who, but we do have, starting next episode, our very first sponsorship coming to our podcast, which is a really big deal for us. So next episode, we will have potentially a new segment and sponsor. So you can check that out on social media as well as on the podcast. We will be doing some collaborations with them. So again, thank you for listening. And yeah, anything else you guys like to say?
No, just thanks for listening. Tune in. For our sponsor. We'll have a little segment for you with it, and hopefully you enjoy it.
Yeah. Have a good night, guys.
And
Check the Dach.
Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, and all those other ones that Omar said last time.
Google Podcast, Amazon Music, we're everywhere.
Sirius
XM, iHeartRadio, Stitcher.
Yep,
You'll find
Stitcher.
You'll find us everywhere.
We'll be
Just
a podcast soon.
Yeah, so tune in wherever on YouTube as well, of course, as if you're watching and you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching the video. So
any of those companies, if you want to give us money to be exclusive, by all means, throw the bag at us.
We will not say no.
We might.
Okay.
And thanks for tuning in, guys.
But again, thank you for listening.
See you next time.